do arise. If you do have a mobile phone, if you would like to put it on silent, please, thank you very much. Right, a massive welcome back to Magnus Mulliner with Thrive or Survive. It's your choice. Magnus is a metabolic typing practitioner and has studied most of the exacting Paul Check courses on optimum physical and mental well-being. Tonight he invites us to thrive by embracing certain principles, enabling us to shed unnecessary life baggage like shame, guilt and the need for approval from others, probably themselves this affected. The end result could be amazing. Please welcome Magnus Mulliner.
Well, it's lovely to be back. Just a show of hands, how many of you people have heard or seen me before? Hands up, please. So it's probably nearly 3/4. And a late one there. Thanks, Hilda. What I'd like to do, obviously, with a lot of my work, is to be of service to you. Now, some of you have come here with maybe burning questions that you'd like to have answered with reference to nutrition, which is what my main passion is about. But when I work with clients all over the globe using Skype, I always seek first to understand, using a lot of the work that I'm going to go through with you this evening. If I may, I wash my hair on that slide. So this little one here is Austin, my wife Sarah, and this one's Lucas. He's now 4.5, part of the community. This one's slightly distressed, obviously happy. This one's a daddy's boy, which I don't know if hands up. How many of you've got children in the room? Hands up. They kind of relate to where I'm coming from. I'm 44 years young. I had to think about that then. And I had my first child, this one, when I was 40. And I hope you don't mind me using a bit of French. I used to have hidden anger. Then I just became fucking angry. And the main reason for that was because I was centre of the universe for 40 years. And now my life is no longer my own. I've got to put something before me. And that was quite a challenge for me. So I went from hidden anger to anger, and then back to hidden. And I'm not going to point fingers on this little one because he does push every button. But then this one came along, all planned. You think I might have learnt actually, because first time I slept with her, that one came. And then obviously the second time, then this one came. So I've learnt now. But this one was express breastfed. This one was solely breastfed. But this one is a daddy's boy. And sometimes I just want to just go to mummy. But another part of me kind of likes it. But it's that balance. Enough of family stuff. What's the reason for being here? What would you like to receive this evening before I suddenly get going on my passion? Because when you're using DBP is death by PowerPoint. It kind of means it's kind of structured. And I know a lot of you have come here with perhaps questions of which I may not know the answers to. And maybe it's a good idea to get stuck in the question, because then you may find the answer yourself. What's the reason for being here? What would you like to receive? I'll just write down the question or the answer.
Information about health, really. How to be healthy.
Who am I?
That's I could answer while we're here, what's the reason for being here? In my opinion, is just to experience the experiences, without giving it a label. Too many of us label things. Who am I? That's a good question. I'm still searching on that one. Tell me who another is. That's another question. Who's heard of a Satori or illumination intensive? Neil at the back, yeah. Have you done one before, sir? No. If you ever get the opportunity to do a Satori, it's where you hopefully in this wonderful environment get the opportunity to gain enlightenment in the now, in the moment. And there's a specific kind of technique in doing that where they use questions. There's no dogma or beliefs to buy into. And one of them that I worked on when I was in Calgary is who am I? And I was asking that over and over again for about 5 days on a vegetarian diet. And then towards the end, on my 5th day, I had my aha moment, or Satori, which I could go into more detail later. But what I basically received was, I don't give a shit what you people think about me. But I was living a lie because I did care. And even though I found that out 10 years ago, I'm still working on that. I talk about gaining approval from others. All of us kind of go out of our way to do that, and it's not that it's wrong, it's just that the people who are trying to gain approval haven't even got it anyway. So what's going on there? And obviously it's to do with our community, or breakdown of. So a Satori, do some more homework on it. It's a wonderful opportunity. There is a lady who delivers it in this country, and I know they do it in Australia, and they certainly do it over in Canada. What's the reason for being here? What would you like to receive? Farmer? What's the reason for here? What would you like to receive? Anyone?
Divine wisdom.
Divine.
Yeah!
Divine wisdom. Knowing who you are. Divine wisdom. To me, wisdom is knowing who you are, and again, it's in the moment, it's in the now. And then moments later that changes. Be here now.
Adapt to change.
Say again, sorry?
Adapt to change.
And that's the challenge for a lot of people who are fixed in their masculine energy. When you married me, I was always like that. How does that help the man in his masculine? When I say masculine, I'm talking about the energy. Adapt to change. Well, we can talk about that, and ultimately that will revolve around the meaning of things, whatever the meaning is. Because when the meaning's there, the inspiration... I use the word inspiration rather than motivation. Motivation is ego-driven. It's not that ego is a bad thing, it's there to keep us safe, secure and predictable. That's what the ego's job is. And the ego is a perception of who you think you are. But to be inspired by something can then bring on radical changes. But it ultimately boils down to the meaning of whatever you're focusing on or not focusing on. And once the meaning changes, bingo, you'll do everything in alignment to that. A simple example could be, if I tell you this evening that if you're not drinking half your body weight in fluid ounces daily, then perhaps you're not getting rid of the toxins and so on, and we could go into detail with the equation of how to figure that out, then when the meaning equals that, you'll do it. You'll carry around something, either a glass or stainless steel, and you'll have your water with you. I put a bit of Celtic salt in there as well. But that only happens when the meaning's there. What's the reason for being here? What would you like to receive?
Wisdom. Which is
More?
knowledge.
Which is knowledge?
Inspiration.
Inspiration?
Would you put what am I on there? Or would you count who am I?
Does that work for you? Perfect. Right. What am I? If you study a bit more about Buddhism, there is no I, there is no me. And often when I ask people who look a bit confused, I say, well, point to I or point to me. So they point at my chest. That's not who I am. The ego will say there is an I and there is a me, but there is no I, there is no me. I'm going a bit deep already, we've only just got started.
I am.
I am.
God. Space. God. I am.
Well, we know we're all connected because we're all breathing, all the same from the same air. If you study a bit of Hebrew, we're actually from the earth. Adam means from the earth, and Eve means life force. So that's where we're from. And the further we separate ourselves from Mother Earth, the sicker we become. I am, the closest you could get to, I think, would be love, in my opinion. And I have no idea what that is. What else are you here? What would you like to receive? We certainly are energy. Information.
Information on everything.
Life, the universe. Maybe I could come up with 42. Douglas Adams. Something. Okay, well, I've got a few ideas where, if more questions come out, again, if you want to know how to drive your car quicker, then, I'm not into that. There's certain things that I won't necessarily talk about, like religion, because I know it's going to, or maybe we will talk about religion, actually. In fact, it may be easier for me to get you to change your religion than to change your diet. Go figure, hey? How we hold on to things that dearly. Yeah? How to become healthier. Well, you're doing that by showing up, so thank you. Thank you for being here. What would you like to receive? Is there anything you'd like to leave behind? Is it okay if I ask I usually go through these for anyone who's heard my presentations. Is it okay if I ask you guys questions? Is that okay?
Yes.
Can I have your permission? Hands up those that don't want me to ask them a question. I won't ask you a question. Okay. And this one, it's to challenge your beliefs and values. Reminds me, I did a course over at Manjushri at Ulverston. It was a few years ago now. And I remember the nun suddenly cut everyone off because she said, does anyone have any questions? And afterwards when I asked her, I said, what was that about? You know, well, how come you shut everyone off? And she said, well, didn't you get the impression that people were asking questions knowing what the answer already was? In other words, they weren't open to another possibility. So just be mindful of that when you do ask a question. Yeah? Are you open to other possibilities? Are there other possibilities? I put empowering self, because ultimately that's what it's about. We know that the government's not going to take care of you. Hopefully our community will. But ultimately it's for you to, I would say, gain a little bit more, become a little bit more conscious. And what I mean by conscious is just aware of what's going on. And start listening to your body, because your physical body never lies to you. If it did, you would die. And that is a true fact. So the simple thing is, if you are in any discomfort or pain, if it had a voice, what would it be asking you to do? What would it be telling you? And maybe you need to kind of go into yourself to find what the answer is to that. Here's a question. How many of you are happy with the way you look and feel today? Hands up. Beautiful. I can't ask him a question. Do you mind, just before I kind of dive into more of my passion, if we kind of create a little bit more peace on this planet? Are you okay with that? Okay. Find yourself a comfortable place. I tried not to stay behind here too much. And what may help, I'll stay here then, is if you ground yourself, both feet flat on the floor. If it helps, try and maintain what we call spinal integrity. People say a straight spine. Your spine isn't straight. If it is, you would get brain damage. It's naturally curved, okay? So, kind of curve. Just relax. You're grounding yourself. And all I want you to do, you can either eyes open, partly open or closed. Just focus on your breath. Just breathe. And while you're breathing, just notice how you feel, what's going on. And if I may, while you're breathing, imagine that you're breathing in pure white light, healing light. And while you're exhaling, breathe out, or as the Buddhists would say, dark smoke. So any problems, issues, challenges, anything that's coming up, just breathe that out, let it go. Again, just breathe in and out. Now for some of you it might help to focus on something. So while you're focusing, focus on perhaps cold air coming in at the tip of your nostrils, and as you breathe out, warmer air leaving your nostrils. If you can, breathe through your nose as opposed to your mouth. Breathing through your mouth can activate your autonomic nervous system. So if you can, breathing in, cool, pure white light, and then as you exhale, dark smoke, warmth. In and then out. Find the tempo that works for you. And while you're doing this, what will happen is your mind will start behaving like a little puppy. And it'll go off, and you'll make that phone call. Oh, I should have asked this question. Oh, I forgot to do this. And your mind will, just like a little puppy, training it to stay still. Just focus on the air coming in. Cool, pure white light through your nostrils. And then as you breathe out, dark smoke. Any challenges, issues, worries? And while you're breathing, just try and breathe a little bit more deeply and see if you can expand your stomach a little bit more. If you so wish, just focus on the pure white light, the cool air, the nostrils. And as you exhale, dark smoke. being breathed out, all the problems, all the issues, any challenges that you may have. And for those of you that have closed your eyes, in your own time if you want, slowly open them and carry on breathing as normal. Here's my next question to you people. How many of you people practice some form of meditation? Hands up. Beautiful. It's my understanding that if we want to create more peace, more love, more connection, it would serve us to find a meditative practice that will work. Now for me, I do a thing called a chi stick, which I'm going to move over there and demonstrate. So through the heart chakra, in the palms, I hold a stick and I breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, and then I breathe out. Now, for those of you familiar with the chi energy, the more slowly you move, I'm still breathing out, and then I would breathe in again. And it's a primordial rocking motion. And I do it with my eyes closed, and you can do this moving around as well. What I find is a lot more peaceful. There's a lot less wars going on in Afghanistan, in Syria and other places. It's not that I ignore those things, I just don't tune into them. So one of the things I like to leave with you, if you can, is to find 2, 5, maybe even 10, 15 minutes per day where it's your time, where you can do some sort of meditative practice. Some people it might be washing up. Some people it might be literally in a room, dark and so on. Whatever it is, sing along if you know the words. You find that place where you can do more meditation, because if it's true in what now when I talk about the Buddhism side, I spend a lot of time over there. When people say, oh, you're a Buddhist, I'm not a Hindu, I'm not a Buddhist, I'm not a Christian, none of those things. Once you label me as, you then separate me from the rest of humankind, because I'm all of those things and none of those things. You understand? But I am saying what I find is that some of their techniques passed down by Buddha are very useful, because as I shared with you before, I used to have hidden anger, then I got angry, and now I've gone back to hidden. And one thing that has been a major benefit for me is to practice meditation. Now, if you have a masculine mind, in the way that most of the time you can settle that puppy, it's not a problem to do a meditative practice. If you've got a feminine mind, that can be in men as well, and you're all over the place, then maybe a guided meditation where you get somebody's tape and start listening to it. Either or, find which one that works for you, and have fun with it. I do mine in the morning because I'm more peaceful and I find more love with my children and wife and everything else, but that's what works for me. You need to find what works for you. As I often remind when I give my presentations, I don't want you to buy into any of my BS. And my BS obviously are my belief systems. I want you to find your own, but what I'm going to do is remind you some things that will serve you. As a former academic, I've got to do this. I'm not going to insult your intelligence and read all my slides. Is that okay? Yeah? That one's a big one though. Some of this stuff, if you heard me present before, we'll just skim through. This is a big one, and I keep saying it. Please understand this. The reason why I teach this is because I'm required to learn it. That's why I teach it. Not different to somebody who teaches martial arts. Why? So that they get better as a martial arts instructor, or somebody who teaches shiatsu, or somebody who does Reiki, or whatever it is, they teach it so that they get better at it. That's why I teach this. So this is for Magnus's benefit, whoever Magnus is. But some other people may benefit from it as well.